Hey guys, King of Charmass here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you a triple fighter team for the Retro Cup. So the reason why triple fighter works in the Retro Cup is because you see a lot of people using Walrein and or normal type Pokemon, like the big one being Lickitung. So this team really targets those two combinations of whether you're going to see that Walrein or you're going to see a normal type like Lickitung or even things like Snorlax, etc. And because counter's so godforsakingly overpowered, it's overpowered. Good base damage, good energy gain, and even with Pokemon that aren't pure fighting types, they still do a lot of damage, and yeah. But Triple Fire actually works in this meta just because of a lot of components have coverage. For example, in this team, I have Deoxys Defense, Vigoroth, and Primeape. Viggy's going to be your safe switch. There's a lot of fancy things you can do just because all three of these mons have a bunch of charge moves that can do a lot of coverage. Or if you're really fancy with it, you can actually take back dubs against things that resist you. For example, a lot of people are going to say like, but Cresselia beats you, but all these other psychic types give you a problem. I will show you in this shoutcast just how you can beat those psychic types. In fact, the first battle is nuts because I go against an Araquanid and a Cresselia and still somehow come out with the W. So again, because counter is so overpowered, able to generate a lot of energy, and all three of these mons give a lot of charge move pressure, you can come out with the dub with this team. So triple fighter team actually decently good and did pretty well for me. So hopefully it does work for you. I didn't want to go super meta off the bat. I just wanted to do something decently like fun because this meta is Retro Cup is just a mess. But before we get started, this is going to be my therapist mental health tip for the day. So this one's actually pretty general, but this is about stress. So stress is the one way our bodies are responding to daily struggles and demands of life. For us right now, or not really for me, but for those of you that are really gunning after Legend or really want that bad pose, you're really stressed out about Go Battle League, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of lag. I lost CMP to a Trevenant today when I was playing Walrein. Somehow my Trevenant lost a CMP to a Walrein. I was like, wait, what? And the problem with that is that if you're stressed out, the good thing is a little bit of stress can be healthy and it keeps us alert and productive. However, when we experience too much stress, as in Go Battle League, it can result in serious physical, emotional, and behavioral problems. So here's a worksheet on the symptoms of stress, and there's a lot of different things. Believe it or not, procrastination is actually stress, an acute symptom of stress, just because you're procrastinating and trying to avoid situation. But it gives you a good list of a lot of different things that can give you stress. For example, emotional, cognitive, physical, behavioral. I like how this breaks it down, as well as chronic symptoms, because stress can lead to heart disease. It can, of course, anxiety disorder, depression is a big one, trauma, weakened immune system, and of course poor diet, exercise habits, and sleep disorders, because when you're really stressed out, you can't go to sleep. So again, here's this worksheet. Hopefully it does help you out, just give you symptoms, and there might be symptoms that you're not looking at that might go to you, so it might apply to you. So you're like, wow, this is actually really bad, and like, yeah. So if you do find yourself getting really stressed about Go Battle League, because there's a lot of things pissing off a lot of people right now, take a break. You don't have to make Legend now. You can make it later. There will be another opportunity to make Legend. And after you find that you make Legend, there's no point in making Legend, unless you really want the pose. Yeah. Because you probably, down the road, if you aren't Legend yet, you have beaten a Legend down the road, you have probably beat me down the road as well. So, if you've beaten me, and you've played me, GG's. And always have faith in yourself. Make sure you respond and recognize your own stressors and the stressful things that are going on with your life outside of Go Battle League, and of course in Go Battle League as well. I wish this game would work already, but unfortunately it's not. That's just not the way the cookie crumbles, because of Niantic, right? Thanks, Niantic. But without further ado, this is one of my I would say a kind of generic, or this is triple fighter for the Retro Cup. Generic, very powerful team if you're able to play it, and hopefully you enjoyed the shoutcast. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here are the battles. Again, this triple fighter team was made just because I'm sick of freaking Lickitung, and it's actually a pretty fun gimmick. Except for this first battle, it goes terribly wrong. Araquanid versus Deoxys defense. This is a terrible lead for you. However, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to straight Rock Slide. Rock Slide still does super effective damage. The big problem here is Araquanid has a ridiculously huge butt, even though actually it is pretty thick behind there. You know, you just don't see it. I'm going to switch into Regirock just to eat this Bubble Beam. And we're going to be debuffed. My opponent's likely going to switch out, and they do send in a Cresselia. The second worst mon you could possibly see on this team. So, despite getting absolutely hard countered, how do you come out with the W in this win condition? Well, the good thing about Regirock is that you can absolutely Body Slam your way to Oblivion. Even though it's debuffed -1, Body Slam will still do a decent amount of chunk damage, as you see here. So, despite being debuffed, 2 Body Slams are able to put this Cresselia nearly in the yellow. This Boom Blast is going to go off. Please do not debuff me, and it does not. So we're going to go for the Body Slam. Body Slam is going to go off, and hopefully we're able to do some decent amount of chip damage here. I need to do as much chip damage as humanely possible, because I already know that Araquanid is going to come out, and Araquanid being a water bug type, bugs resist fighting type moves. So all 3 of my mons aren't going to do really well against that stupid bug. I'm going to let Regirock go, and then I'm going to go ahead and just gather as much energy as possible here. I'm going to shield this first one. It's probably going to be a Moonblast, and then I'm praying that I don't get debuffed, and I do not. My aim here is I want to do as much damage as I possibly can against this Araquanid. Because they switch in Araquanid, I can see that my opponent probably doesn't like a fighter. And I'm going to send in Primeape here, and it's going to get Bubble Beamed. So the thing about it is Bug Buzz doesn't do super. Bug Buzz is resisted by Primeape because Bug is resisted. Fighters resist Bug, and Bubble Beam doesn't do a lot of damage. So I'm using Primeape here as kind of a sponge. Primeape, I'm gonna just try to do as much damage as humanly possible here. Maybe Primeape with a bunch of energy can come out with a W. I'm gonna need another Bubble Beam here. My opponent definitely isn't gonna go for a Bug Buzz because it's resisted, but I'm thankful that they're doing this because I can get a lot of energy on Primeape. My aim here is to be able to Night Slash that Cresselia in the back. We're still in the 1 shield, but even though I'm debuff -2, my opponent is in danger because this Night Slash should theoretically kill. And when it does, if it doesn't, that's great because I could switch into DD and get a little bit extra farm, which I attempted to do here. My opponent sends in a wall raid, and I am vibing. So, I was correct. My opponent did not like a fighter. And as you see here, 1 Icicle Spear isn't going to kill. I'm going to fire this Rock Slide. My opponent's likely going to shield, and then I'm going to shoot a Psycho Boost here. The Psycho Boost should make it to where I'm going to be able to do enough damage, and then Primeape should be able to put this wall raid down. I still have a shield. All I have to do is shield that incoming Icicle Spear, counter down, and then I should be able to Night Slash for the W. As you see, my opponent, for some reason, doesn't fire right away, but it doesn't really matter because we have energy on Primeape. All I have to do is just counter down, and that's GG's. Despite getting absolutely hard countered, you too can come out with a win condition, but that's why I like triple counter, because it really targets that 1 mon in the back, whether it be a wall raid or a normal type that your opponent really doesn't like seeing. We got Machamp into DD, and I make a terrible switch. I was actually supposed to switch into Regirock here, so this is a misplay from hell. I switch into Regirock, Body Slam to death, but unfortunately that's not going to happen here. I fire off a Night Slash, I do not get a boost, so I'm already, this is terrible. However, I might be able to get to another one, that's why I'm attempting to get to another, and I don't happen to get another Night Slash, so I'm already really behind. My idea here is I'm going to send in Regirock, and then what I want to do is I'm going to get as much energy as possible, and then Body Slam my opponent's back row. This was excessively painful. So as you see here, we're going to go ahead and beat down this Hypno, and then we're going to have, I might be able to get to at least 2 Body Slams, and I might be able to take both shields from that Machamp. That's the game plan. So we're going to double Body Slam here. Hopefully I can take 1 shield. I just need 1. You know what I mean? I know you're like, girl, you got 4 arms, and thank God you're not like One Punch Man or freaking the Infinity Gauntlet from Marvel, because I do not want you to snap my entire team and then they all die, which is probably gonna likely happen here. As you see, we get an Oranguru, and I'm like, are you serious? Because this is double confusion. And with that being said, unfortunately, there's this giant ape that just, it has foul play. However, because Deoxys defense has so much, is decently bulky, we won't die to 1 foul play, which is actually pretty great. But we're still in a lot of danger here. I'm trying to get as much energy as possible. I'm gonna have to fire up this second Rock Slide. And our opponent likely isn't gonna shield. If they do, that's great. If they, thankfully they do shield, and I'm like, okay, great. We're gonna lose Foul Play here. However, I might be able to get to another Body Slam with Vigoroth. This, I'm gonna have, there's no way I have to basically force a simultaneous KO here. As you see here, my opponent sends in Machamp here, and this is definitely gonna be a simultaneous KO. The reason being is because I should be able to get 2 counters into that one confusion, and then they'll just simultaneously knock each other out because they're able to do so much damage. GG's. Okay, so somehow I was able to come out with a tie, which is the best case scenario I could put out there. If you, moral of the story of that battle is that if you misplay, of course, still keep playing, but if you can't make, at least you can try to go ahead and make it to where you can force the simultaneous KO like you see there. Forcing a tie is better than taking it out. So as you see here, we get a Primeape into my DD. We're going to switch out, and this is why I like this team, because I want to get this stupid Lickitung and beat the unholy crap out of it with Primeape, or just pretty much my entire team anyways, because all of them do really well against Lickitung. We're able to counter down this Lickitung, and I have a lot of energy stored. We're going to fire off this Ice Punch. The reason I'm firing off Ice Punch is because Ice Punch does neutral damage. Night Slash is resisted because fighters resist Dark-type moves. We're just going to do as much damage as humanly possible here. I can send in Deoxys Defense after this, and Deoxys Defense can sponge a Night Slash perfectly fine. I'm not going to shield here. It can sponge an Ice Punch or a Night Slash unless my opponent boosts. And they did not boost, thankfully. And again, with the Wall Raid, this is why I love Triple Fighter. Triple Fighter actually works in this team, and just because counter is so godforsakingly strong. It's not, because my opponent just top left because they already know it's over. There's no real way my opponent can play out of this, especially since I Lickitung into Primeape and then Wall Raid into Vigoroth basically means GG's. Next, we get Zangoose on to my Deoxys Defense. This actually isn't bad for my opponent because they can force my shields. I'm not going to shield anything though. Night Slash will do heavy damage. Hopefully they don't boost. As you see, they don't boost. And my opponent sends in a Hypno, which is equally as bad, because when it comes to Triple Fighter, counter is resisted by this Hypno by all 3 of my mons. So I'm going to have to be a little fancier. I'm going to send in Vigoroth after doing a little chip damage. I just want to do a little bit of chip so that I can go ahead and body slam this Hypno to death. So we're gonna eat a Fire Punch. I don't want it. I'm just gonna shield once just because I want to see what my opponent has, and I don't want to take too much damage. Shadow Hypno's punches still hurt a lot. And as you see here, we're actually starting to force my opponent's shields. I'm going to shield the second one. I want to go into even shield scenarios. My idea here is I want to get as much energy as possible. This next Body Slam should go off. And then what's going to happen here is my opponent's either going to eat it or they're going to shield this. And then they're going to take out my Vigoroth. So that I want to make it so I can get as much farm as I can. They strangely do not shield, allowing me to get to another Body Slam. However, this is a Medicham, and we all know Medicham has Psychic, meaning my freaking Primeape is in danger. I send in Deoxys Defense. My idea here is I want my opponent to fire their energy here. There's nothing, this is going to be really dicey. This Psychic is going to go through, I'm going to fire a Psychic Boost, and I actually want my opponent to eat this move. Psychic Boost won't kill here, but I want to do as much chip as I can, because as you see here, I might be able to send in Primeape and actually farm this Medicham down. So as you see here, I managed to somehow make exact calculations. That was 100,000% calculated for my IQ is 69,000, and we get a Zangoose. My opponent tries to sack in this scenario, but I'm able to catch it. This is literally their only win condition is to sack, and then I should be able to get double Night Slash off, and that's GG's. That was a super sweaty battle for no absolute freaking reason, but because we're able to get massive amounts of energy, like Classroom of the Elite, Classroom of the Elite is a great anime, a very psychological mind screwage if you like that kind of deal, or you could just go with Death Note, because you know Death Note and Light, you know, yes, the classic Death Note anime, which everyone loves and adores, and Light is freaking nuts. And yeah, I love Death Note. Anyways, for our final battle, we get the Deoxys Defense into Regirock. This actually isn't 100%, well, this is great for us because the key of this team is to just have one Mon that's weak to our fighters. Or to get those Wall Raids or those normal type Mons, like those, like, what you call it? Like Vigoroth or, of course, Lickitung. Lickitung's the biggest target I have for this team. But, as you see here, we don't want to eat a single... We can eat one move, but we can't eat two. So I'm just getting a bazillion energy here. I'm going to fire a Psycho Boost, and I just want to queue all of this energy versus my opponent. They're probably going to eat the Psycho Boost, and they do, and then I just counter down. However, our Deoxys defense is -2, so I'm going to switch into Vigoroth, as you see here, and we get a freaking Pidgeot. This is terrible, because Pidgeot, even though it takes neutral damage, Pidgeot will do work. The reason why Pidgeot do work is because Feather Dance will do a -2 debuff, and of course, Brave Bird, you don't want to get hit by a Brave Bird because it's do a massive amount of damage. I'm not going to shield here, hoping my opponent actually does hit me with Feather Dance, because the good thing about Feather Dance is that its base damage is terrible, so you could survive it with Viggy here, and Viggy might be able to Body Slam, get to another Body Slam. I'm praying it gets to another Body Slam, and it does. This will either prompt the shield or our opponent is going to let this Pidgeot go. That is a sweet shiny, by the way. Shinies do more damage. However, I'm hoping you just let your shiny go. The bad thing in this scenario is that our opponent's going to be able to get to more energy here. I actually misplay here. I should have just straight up fired by Rock Slide, but I don't. So it doesn't really matter anyways because I have Primeape in the back. All I really wanted to do is grab a shield, and I do happen to grab a shield. As you see here, my opponent's gonna have to actually, like, fire a move because you're not gonna be able to farm me down. All I have to do is send in Primeape. Primeape Ice punches. We go Ape. Mojo Jojo, that's actually the nickname of this Primeape. Mojo Jojo goes through. Sugar Spice and not everything ice. Well, this is pretty... It's not really spicy. It's triple fighter with 3 overpowered counter mons because counter is an overpowered move to begin with. So I hope y'all enjoy the battles. This Ice Punch should KO, take out this bird, send it to the Shadow Realm, and that's game. Hope y'all enjoyed the battles. This triple fighter team is amazing. I hope you have a lot of fun with it if you're really willing to risk it, and it does really well for the Retro Cup. And that's game. As you see, triple fighter, it can actually work, and it did a lot of freaking work in this shellcast. I was surprised at how well it did, and I was like, wow, this actually works out, but only because of, like I mentioned, there's a lot of normal types and Walreins running around right now, and surprisingly, Primeape is good for this meta just because you have Ice Punch and you have, well, you know, when you have Dark Type, when you have a lot of Psychic types in the back, Night Slash can do a decent amount of damage, assuming you don't get locked to a Confusion user, as you see here with Hypno. But I hope y'all are enjoying the Retro Cup. I don't like it. It's very blah. It's a whole bunch of madness that people are, yeah, it's weird, okay? But look for more content on Retro Cup to come pretty soon. If you don't like Retro Cup, of course, Open Great League is available, thankfully. So if you want, you can play Open Great League instead of Retro Cup. But yeah, look for the Retro Cup content to go through. Hopefully y'all are doing well on your Go Battle League sets, and hopefully y'all are I would say enjoy this season, but there's been so many things going wrong that I just don't even know at this point. But hopefully you are enjoying the season. Do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe as usual, and do comment to the YouTube algorithm. I really do appreciate y'all that do that, and of course I do stream on Twitch. Not consistently right now, but I'm doing my best, especially for those of you that do watch. But again, I hope y'all are enjoying this season. It's a pretty chaotic season, and yeah. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see y'all on the next video.
That I made, all the things that I have craved, these are what I could have saved. There's one more